The courtroom was very quiet, so quiet that people could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Every tick felt loud. Every second felt heavy. The air inside the room felt thick, like something big was about to happen. The judge sat high on his chair, looking serious. His face showed no emotion. In front of him sat the jury. 12 people. Tired faces. Some looked sad. Some looked confused. Some already looked like they had made up their minds. On one side of the room sat the prosecutors. They looked confident. Their papers were neatly stacked. Their faces showed calm. They believed they had already won. On the other side sat the defense lawyer. He looked tired. His suit was wrinkled. Dark circles were under his eyes. He had not slept well for many nights. He knew how bad things looked for his client. At the defense table sat a black man in handcuffs. He was the father. His head was slightly down. His shoulders were heavy. His eyes looked empty, but deep inside, pain lived there. He had been sitting in this same spot for weeks. Every day, people looked at him like he was already guilty. He was accused of a serious crime. A crime he said he did not do. But no one seemed to believe him. Behind him, in the back row, sat a young black girl. She was his daughter. She could not be more than 13 years old. Her hands were folded in her lap. They were shaking just a little. She kept trying to stop them, but they would not stay still. Her eyes were red. She had been crying earlier. Now, she was trying to be strong. She watched her father with fear and love in her eyes. She remembered how he used to walk her to school, how he helped her with homework, how he told her stories at night when she could not sleep. To her, he was not a criminal. He was her dad. But in this room, her feelings did not matter. Only evidence mattered. The judge cleared his throat. Everyone sat up straight. This court is ready to move to final statements, the judge said in a firm voice. The words hit the room like a cold wind. Final statements. That meant the end was near. That meant a life could change forever in just a few minutes. The prosecutor stood up. He walked slowly, confidently, toward the jury. He spoke in a calm voice. He talked about the case. He talked about the timeline. He talked about the witness. He talked about the so-called proof. He painted a picture where the father looked guilty. Very guilty. He pointed toward the man in handcuffs. This man, the prosecutor said, had motive. He had opportunity. And the evidence supports our claim. Some jurors nodded slowly. The girl in the back row felt her heart sink. Her chest felt tight. She wanted to scream. She wanted to stand up. But fear held her down. The defense lawyer stood next. His voice was softer. He talked about doubt. He talked about missing details. He talked about things that did not make sense. But his words felt weaker. The room already felt decided. The girl looked at her father again. He did not look back. He was staring at the table, like a man who already lost hope. The judge looked at both sides. Before I moved to my decision, the judge said, "Is there anything else?" The room stayed silent. No one moved. No one spoke. The judge picked up his pen. That was the moment. The girl felt something inside her chest. A strong fire. Her hand stopped shaking. Her breathing became deep. Her heart started beating fast. She stood up. Her chair made a loud sound as it moved. Every head in the courtroom turned. People whispered. Gasps filled the room. The judge looked surprised. "Order in the court," the judge shouted, hitting his gavel. The girl stood still. Her legs felt weak. But she did not sit. She looked straight ahead. Tears filled her eyes. Her voice came out shaking, but loud enough for everyone to hear. "My dad is innocent," she shouted. The courtroom exploded with noise. People talked. People whispered. Some laughed quietly. Some shook their heads. The prosecutor looked annoyed. The defense lawyer turned around, shocked. The father finally looked up. His eyes met his daughter's. His face changed. Shock, fear, hope. The judge hit the gavel again. "Order, order," he said. He looked down at the girl. "Young lady," the judge said, "this is not the time to speak." The girl swallowed. She wiped her tears. She took one small step forward. "I know something," she said. "Something no one here knows." The courtroom went quiet again. The judge leaned forward. The prosecutor crossed his arms. The defense lawyer held his breath. The girl's voice was small, but her words were heavy. "I saw something," she said. "The night they say my dad did it." A wave of shock went through the room. The judge's eyes narrowed. Do you understand how serious this is? The judge asked. Yes, sir, the girl said. But my dad didn't do it. The judge paused. He looked around the courtroom, and he looked back at her. Do you have proof? He asked. The girl took a deep breath. Her next words would change everything. The courtroom did not breathe. That was how it felt. After the girl said she had proof, the air became heavy. No one moved. No one whispered. Even a sound of papers stopped. All eyes were on her. She stood small in a big room. A young girl facing grown adults. Facing lawyers. Facing a judge. Facing a system that already made up its mind. The judge looked at her closely. Young lady, he said slowly, you must understand. This is a serious court. If you are speaking, you must speak the truth. She nodded. Her hands were still shaking, but she kept them at her sides. I am telling the truth, she said. I promise. The prosecutor stood up quickly. Your Honor, he said, this is highly unusual. A child interrupting court with no legal standing. The judge raised his hand. Sit down, the judge said firmly. I will decide what is allowed here. The prosecutor slowly sat back down, clearly unhappy. The judge looked back at the girl. You said you saw something, he said. Tell the court what you saw. The girl took a deep breath. Her mind went back to that night. The sounds, the fear, the moment that never left her dreams. That night, she said softly, my dad was with me. The prosecutor shook his head. The jury leaned forward. The defense lawyer slowly stood, hope starting to show on his face. Continue, the judge said. We were at my aunt's house, the girl said. My dad picked me up late because I stayed after school. We ate dinner together. We watched TV. He never left me alone. The prosecutor stood again. That is not supported by any adult witness, he said. The girl looked at him. My aunt was asleep, she said. She works night shifts. She was tired. The prosecutor sighed loudly, trying to make it seem small. The judge looked thoughtful. And what else did you see? The judge asked. The girl hesitated. Her eyes moved across the room. She looked to the side. Then she looked to the back. She was looking for something. Or someone. There was a man, she said quietly. The room reacted. A man? Where? The judge asked. Outside, the girl said. Across the street from my aunt's house. The prosecutor smiled slightly. A man across the street is not proof, he said. The girl lifted her head. He was watching, she said. Watching our house. The smile on the prosecutor's face faded. What do you mean, watching? The judge asked. He stayed there a long time, the girl said. Too long. He kept looking at his phone. Then he looked at our door. The defense lawyer stepped forward. Did you see his face? The lawyer asked gently. The girl shook her head. It was dark, she said. But I saw his jacket. I saw how he walked. I saw his car. The judge leaned forward. Can you describe the car? He asked. It was dark blue, she said. Old. One headlight was broken. The courtroom started to whisper. Some jurors looked at each other. The prosecutor quickly spoke. Your Honor, this is a child's memory. It is unreliable. The judge looked at him. She's under oath now, the judge said. Let her finish. The girl swallowed. There is more, she said. The room became silent again. I heard my dad's phone ring, she said. It was late. He answered it. He looked confused. What did he say? The judge asked. He said, I was with my daughter all night, the girl said. He sounded scared. The father closed his eyes. Tears slowly ran down his face. The girl continued. After that, police came to our door, she said. They took him away. They did not listen to me. The defense lawyer turned to the judge. This places him with his daughter during the time of the crime, he said. The prosecutor stood again. This is still not proof, he said. We have a witness who says he saw the defendant near the scene. The girl suddenly stepped forward. That witness is lying, she said. The courtroom gasped. The judge hit the gavel. Order, he shouted. He looked at the girl. That is a serious claim, the judge said. Why do you say that? The girl's voice became stronger. Because I saw someone else, she said. Her finger slowly lifted. She pointed. Not her father. Not at the lawyers. She pointed toward a man sitting on the side of the courtroom. A man who had been quiet the whole time. A man who suddenly looked very nervous. The room turned to look. The man's face went pale. He looked down. Security guards shifted their position. The judge followed her finger with his eyes. Who is that man? The judge asked. The girl's voice was steady now. He was there that night, she said. I recognize how he stands. How he moves. The man started to sweat. The prosecutor froze. The defense lawyer's eyes widened. The judge leaned forward slowly. This court will take this very seriously, the judge said. He looked at security. Keep an eye on that man, he ordered. The girl lowered her hand. Her heart was racing. She had said it. She had finally said it. But now, everything was about to change. The courtroom changed in 1 second. Before it was loud. Now it felt empty. Not because people left, but because fear and shock filled every space. All eyes moved to the man the girl pointed at. He was sitting near the wall, away from the main seats. Just a regular man. Plain clothes. Nothing special. But now, every person in the room was staring at him. The man shifted in his seat. He wiped his forehead. His hands were shaking. Security guards stepped closer. The judge leaned forward. Sir, the judge said, stand up. The man did not move. The judge's voice became stronger. I said, stand up. Slowly, the man stood. His legs looked weak. His face was pale. The girl watched him closely. Her heart was beating fast. She felt scared, but she also felt sure. That was him. The defense lawyer spoke. Your Honor, he said, this is a serious development. The prosecutor looked angry. This is a distraction, he said. This man has not been proven to be connected to anything. The judge raised his hand again. This court will decide, the judge said. He looked at the man. What is your name? The judge asked. The man swallowed. Marcus, he said quietly. Marcus what? The judge asked. Marcus Hill, the man said. The judge nodded. Mr. Hill, the judge said, were you near the victim's house on the night of the crime? Marcus Hill hesitated. His eyes moved to the prosecutor, then to the door, then back to the judge. I don't remember, he said. The courtroom reacted. Soft gasps. Quiet whispers. The girl stepped forward again. You were there, she said. I saw you. The judge looked at her. Explain, he said. He leaned on his car, the girl said. He kept checking his phone. He looked angry. He kicked a rock. Marcus Hill's jaw tightened. The prosecutor stood up fast. Objection, he said. This is a child making claims based on memory. The judge looked at him. She is giving details, the judge said. Let her speak. The defense lawyer stepped closer to the girl. Did you see his face clearly? The lawyer asked. No, she said. But I saw his walk. I saw his jacket. It had a red mark on the sleeve. Marcus Hill's eyes widened for half a second. The girl saw it. The jury saw it. The defense lawyer saw it. The prosecutor saw it too. The judge noticed. Mr. Hill, the judge said, do you own a jacket with a red mark on the sleeve? Marcus Hill's lips trembled. Lots of people have jackets, he said. The judge's voice became cold. That was not my question. Marcus Hill took a deep breath. Yes, he said quietly. I have a jacket. The courtroom buzzed. The father lifted his head. Hope returned his eyes. The girl's chest felt tight. She was getting closer. The judge looked at security. Find out if this man owns a dark blue car with one broken headlight, the judge said. Security nodded and stepped out. The prosecutor walked back and forth. This is turning into a circus, he said. We have a witness who already placed the defendant near the crime. The defense lawyer turned fast. That witness has not been tested, he said. And now we have another possible suspect. The judge looked at both lawyers. This court will not ignore new information, he said. He turned to the girl. Why didn't you say this before? The judge asked. The girl looked down. I was scared, she said. No one listens to kids. The room became quiet again. The judge paused. That answer stayed in the air. No one listens to kids. The father closed his eyes. Tears ran down again. The girl continued. My dad told me to stay quiet, she said. He said the truth would come out. He didn't want me scared. The defense lawyer placed a hand on the father's shoulder. The prosecutor looked uncomfortable. The judge leaned back. Mr. Hill, the judge said, do you know the witness in this case? Marcus Hill hesitated again. No, he said quickly. The girl spoke. He is lying, she said. I saw them talk. The courtroom gasped louder this time. Where? The judge asked. Outside the building, she said. Before court started. Marcus Hill's breathing became heavy. The prosecutor's face tightened. The defense lawyer smiled slightly. The judge narrowed his eyes. Mr. Hill, the judge said, You are now a person of interest. Marcus Hill shook his head. This is crazy, he said. I didn't do anything. The girl looked straight at him. Then why are you scared? She asked. The words hit hard. Marcus Hill opened his mouth, then closed it. Security returned. They walked fast. One guard whispered something to the judge. The judge's face changed. Mr. Hill, the judge said, security has confirmed you own a dark blue car. And one headlight is broken. The courtroom exploded. Noise. Shalt. Whispers. The prosecutor froze. The defense lawyer stood tall. The father grabbed the edge of the table. The girl felt her knees weaken. The judge hit the gavel hard. Order, he shouted. He looked at Marcus Hill. You will remain here, the judge said. You are not free to leave. Marcus Hill's face turned white. Sweat rolled down his face. The judge then turned to the prosecutor. And now, the judge said, we will hear from your witness. The room went silent again. Everyone knew something big was about to break. The courtroom felt like it was holding its breath. Every person knew this moment mattered. The judge looked toward the side door. Bring in the witness, the judge said. The door opened slowly. A man walked in. He looked nervous. His suit was too big. His tie was crooked. He avoided eye contact. This was the witness who had placed the father near the crime. The witness who helped build the case. The witness who now held everything in his shaking hands. He walked to the stand. He raised his right hand. He swore to tell the truth. But his voice was weak. His eyes kept moving. The girl watched him closely. She felt something was wrong. The judge nodded. You may proceed, the judge said to the prosecutor. The prosecutor stood tall. He smiled at the jury. Please tell the court your name, he said. Daniel Brooks, the witness said. Mr. Brooks, the prosecutor said, you told police you saw the defendant near the crime scene. Is that correct? Yes, Daniel Brooks said. His voice cracked. The prosecutor continued. Tell the court what you saw. Daniel took a breath. It was late, he said. I was walking home. I saw him near the building. He looked nervous. He walked fast. The girl shook her head slowly. The defense lawyer stood up. Your Honor, he said. May I cross-examine? Yes, the judge said. The defense lawyer walked slowly toward the witness. Mr. Brooks, he said calmly. How far away were you when you saw this man? Across the street, Daniel said. How far exactly? The lawyer asked. I don't know. Maybe 30 feet. The lawyer nodded. And it was dark, he asked. Yes, Daniel said. Streetlights working? The lawyer asked. Some, Daniel said. The lawyer leaned closer. So from 30 feet away, in the dark, you are sure you saw this man clearly? Daniel hesitated. Yes, he said. I'm sure. The lawyer paused. He turned toward the jury. Then back to Daniel. What was the man wearing? The lawyer asked. A dark jacket, Daniel said. What color? The lawyer asked. Black, Daniel said quickly. The girl whispered to herself. That's not true. The lawyer nodded slowly. Anything else? The lawyer asked. He had a hat, Daniel said. The lawyer's eyes sharpened. A hat? He asked. Yes, Daniel said. The lawyer turned to the girl. Did your father wear a hat that night? He asked gently. No, she said. He didn't. The courtroom reacted. The judge leaned forward. The defense lawyer looked back at Daniel. Are you sure about the hat? He asked. Daniel's hand shook. I think so, he said. The lawyer took a paper from his table. This is the police report, he said. In your first statement, you said nothing about a hat. Daniel swallowed hard. I forgot, he said. The prosecutor shifted in his seat. The defense lawyer continued. You also said in your first statement that the man had a blue jacket. Now you say black. Daniel's face turned red. It was dark, he said. I was confused. The lawyer raised his voice slightly. Or you are lying. The courtroom gasped. The judge hit the gavel. Order, he said. The defense lawyer took a breath. Mr. Brooks, he said, do you know Marcus Hill? Daniel froze. The name hit him like a slap. No, he said too fast. The girl stood up slightly in her seat. That's a lie, she whispered. The judge looked at Daniel closely. Have you ever spoken to Marcus Hill? The judge asked. Daniel's eyes moved toward Marcus. Marcus stared back. Hard. Cold. Daniel looked away. No, Daniel said quietly. The defense lawyer took another step closer. Then why did security footage show you standing next to him outside this building this morning? The lawyer asked. The room exploded with noise. The prosecutor jumped up. "Objection," he shouted. The judge raised his hand. "Overruled," the judge said. Daniel's face dropped. I can explain," he said. "Then explain," the judge said. Daniel's voice shook. "He just asked me for a lighter," Daniel said. The defense lawyer shook his head. "That is not what the footage shows," he said. "You were talking for over 5 minutes." Daniel started breathing fast. Sweat ran down his face. The judge leaned forward. "Mr. Brooks," the judge said, "this is your chance to tell the truth." Silence filled the room. The girl felt her heart pounding. The father squeezed his hands together. The prosecutor looked nervous now. Daniel looked at Marcus again. Marcus gave him a hard look. Daniel's shoulders dropped. "They told me to say it," Daniel said suddenly. The courtroom froze. "Who?" the judge asked. Daniel closed his eyes. "I was paid," he said. "They told me to say I saw him." Gasps filled the room. The prosecutor shouted, "That's a lie." The judge slammed the gavel. "Silence," he shouted. The defense lawyer smiled in shock. The girl covered her mouth. The father cried openly now. The judge leaned forward. "Who paid you?" the judge asked. Daniel opened his mouth. His voice was shaking. He lifted his hand and pointed, not at the father, not at the lawyers. He pointed at Marcus Hill. The room erupted. Security moved fast. Marcus stood up. "This is crazy," he shouted. The judge's voice cut through. "This court will take a recess," the judge said. "Security, hold Mr. Hill." The girl's legs felt weak. She had done it. But something told her this was only the beginning. When court came back from recess, the energy in the room felt different. Before, people were sure. Now people were scared. The judge walked in slowly. His face was hard. This was no longer a simple case. Something deeper was happening. Marcus Hill sat between 2 security guards. His arms were crossed. His jaw was tight. He tried to look calm, but his foot kept tapping. The witness, Daniel Brooks, sat with his head down. He would not look at anyone. The father sat straight for the first time in days. Hope was slowly returning to his face. The girl held her hands together. She whispered a small prayer inside her heart. The judge looked at both lawyers. "This court will continue," he said. "Defense, you may proceed." The defense lawyer stood. "Your Honor," he said, "we have new evidence." The prosecutor stood fast. "This is highly unusual," he said. The judge looked at him. "So, is paying a witness," the judge replied. The room reacted. The defense lawyer nodded. "We request to show video evidence," he said. "What video?" the judge asked. The defense lawyer held up a small flash drive. "Security camera footage," he said, "from a store near the crime scene." The prosecutor's face changed. He did not expect this. The judge nodded. "Play it," he said. The lights dimmed. A screen came down. Everyone leaned forward. The girl held her breath. The video started. Black and white. Grainy. A small store parking lot. The timestamp showed the night of the crime. Cars passed. People walked by. Nothing happened at first. Then a dark blue car pulled into the frame. One headlight was broken. The courtroom reacted. Whispers. Gasps. The girl squeezed her hands. "That's it," she whispered. The car door opened. A man stepped out. His face was not clear, but his walk was. The girl felt cold. "That's him," she thought. The man looked around. He checked his phone. He walked toward the side of the building. Minutes passed. Then something else happened. Another figure appeared. The father. The room went silent. The prosecutor leaned forward. The defense lawyer raised his hand. "Watch closely," he said. The father did not go near the building. He stayed by the sidewalk. He looked confused. He held his phone. He looked like he was waiting. The girl remembered. That was when her dad got the call. The video continued. The father turned. He walked away from the building, toward the street, toward his car. The timestamp showed he left. Then, something shocking. The man from the blue car went back into frame. He walked fast. He pulled something from his jacket. The room held its breath. The man disappeared behind the building. Seconds later, he ran back. He looked nervous. He got into his car. He drove away fast. The courtroom exploded. Noise. Shout. People stood up. The judge slammed the gavel. "Order," he shouted. The screen froze on the man's image. The defense lawyer pointed. "That is not my client," he said. "That is Marcus Hill." All eyes turned to Marcus. Marcus jumped to his feet. That video proves nothing, he shouted. Security grabbed his arms. The judge looked furious. It proves your car was there, the judge said. It proves my defendant left before the crime. The prosecutor's face went pale. The girl's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, she felt real hope. The defense lawyer continued. There is more, he said. The room went quiet again. Another camera angle, he said. The second video played. This one was clearer. A side alley. The same blue car. The same man. This time his face came into light. The room gasped. The girl covered her mouth. The jury leaned forward. The judge stood up slightly. The man's face was now visible. It was Marcus Hill. Clear. No doubt. Marcus shouted. This is fake. The defense lawyer shook his head. The footage is verified, he said. Time stamped. From 2 different cameras. The prosecutor stood slowly. He looked shaken. Your Honor, he said quietly. We need time to review this. The judge looked at him coldly. You had time, the judge said. An innocent man did not. The girl looked at her father. He was crying openly. He reached for her with his eyes. She smiled through tears. The judge turned to Marcus. You are now under serious investigation, he said. Marcus struggled against security. I didn't do it alone. Marcus shouted. The room froze. Those words changed everything. I didn't do it alone. The judge leaned forward. What do you mean? The judge asked. Marcus closed his mouth. Too late. He had already said too much. The prosecutor looked shocked. The defense lawyer smiled slightly. The judge hit the gavel. This court will not ignore that statement, the judge said. Security, take Mr. Hill into custody for further questioning. Marcus was pulled away. He kept shouting. This isn't over. The courtroom watched in silence. The girl felt her knees weaken, but something told her there was still more to come. The courtroom was no longer calm. It was alive with fear. After Marcus Hill was taken out, the room felt shaken. People whispered, "Repultas tupit fast." Even the jury looked confused and tense. The judge had never seen a turn like this before. He sat back in his chair, deep in thought. This court will now hear further evidence, the judge said. This case is no longer simple. The prosecutor stood slowly. His voice was not confident anymore. Your Honor, he said, the state requests time to review all connections related to Marcus Hill. The defense lawyer stood right after. My client has spent weeks in jail for something he did not do, he said. Every minute matters. The judge nodded. I agree, he said. This court will continue today. The girl squeezed her hands. Her heart was beating fast. She could feel it. The truth was close. Very close. A police officer entered the courtroom quietly. He walked to the judge and whispered something. The judge's face changed. His jaw tightened. He nodded slowly. Then he looked up. Court is back in full session, the judge said. We have new information. The room leaned forward. The police officer took the stand. We ran Marcus Hill's phone records, the officer said. We found multiple calls between him and another man. Who? The judge asked. The officer looked at his notes. His cousin, the officer said. Name, Trevor Hill. The name meant nothing to most people. But to Marcus, it meant everything. The defense lawyer stood. What is Trevor Hill's connection to this case? He asked. The officer took a breath. Trevor Hill has a criminal history, he said. Robbery. Assault. And he was seen near the crime area that same night. The courtroom gasped. The prosecutor looked shocked. This information was not in our file, he said. The judge looked at him sharply. That is concerning, the judge said. The girl felt a chill. 2 people, not 1. Marcus had said he didn't do it alone. Now it made sense. The officer continued. We also found messages, he said. Text messages. What do they say? The judge asked. The officer looked at the screen. They talk about timing, he said. About watching the building. About making sure someone else takes the blame. The courtroom went silent. The words hit hard. Someone else takes the blame. The father closed his eyes. The girl felt tears fall again. The defense lawyer shook his head slowly. They planned this, he said. The judge leaned forward. Where is Trevor Hill now? The judge asked. The officer hesitated. He was called in for questioning, he said. But he did not show up. The room reacted. Fear filled the air. The judge's voice became sharp. Put out an alert, he said. Now. Another officer rushed out. The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor," he said quietly, "we request a temporary hold while we locate Trevor Hill." The defense lawyer slammed his hand on the table. "No more delays," he said. "An innocent man is sitting in chains." The judge raised his hand. "Enough," the judge said. "This court will not allow this to be buried." Suddenly, loud voices came from the hallway. Shouting. Footsteps running. The courtroom doors burst open. Security rushed in. They dragged a man inside. He was fighting. He was yelling. "Let me go," the man shouted. The girl's heart stopped. She recognized the face. That was him. That was the other man. Trevor Hill. His clothes were messy. His face was angry. His eyes were wild. The judge stood. "Bring him forward," the judge ordered. Trevor was pushed toward the front. He looked around. He saw the jury. He saw the judge. Then he saw the girl. His eyes narrowed. "You," he said quietly. The girl felt fear, but she stood strong. The officer spoke. "Trevor Hill," he said, "you are being questioned in connection with this case." Trevor laughed. "This is a joke," he said. "You got the wrong people." The defense lawyer stepped forward. "We have video," he said. "We have phone records. We have text messages." Trevor's smile faded. The judge leaned forward. "This is your chance to speak," the judge said. "Tell this court the truth." Trevor looked around. He saw no way out. His chest rose and fell fast. Marcus had already been taken. The plan was broken. The system was watching now. Trevor slammed his hands on the table. "Fine," he shouted. "You want the truth?" The room froze. "Yes," the judge said calmly. "We want the truth." Trevor pointed toward the defense table. "That man is innocent," he said. "He was never supposed to be here." The father looked up in shock. The girl gasped. The jury leaned forward. Trevor continued. "It was me and Marcus," he said. "We planned it. We needed money. We thought we were smart." The prosecutor's face dropped. The defense lawyer closed his eyes. The judge's face became stone. "You framed him," the judge said. Trevor nodded. "Yes," he said. "We saw him near the building earlier that week. We used his name. We paid the witness." The room filled with noise. The judge slammed the gavel hard. "Silence," he shouted. The girl felt weak. But this time, it was relief. Tears of truth. The judge looked at the father. "Sir," the judge said, "this court recognizes that you were wrongly accused." The father broke down. He cried. The girl ran to him, but the judge raised his hand. "One more step," the judge said. "This is not over yet." He looked at Trevor. "And now," the judge said, "justice will begin." The courtroom knew. The case had collapsed. But the final word was still coming. The courtroom felt different now. Not heavy, not dark, but emotional, like a storm had passed, and everyone was standing in the quiet after. Trevor Hill sat in handcuffs. His head was down. Marcus Hill was brought back in. He would not look at anyone. The witness, Daniel Brooks, sat silent, knowing his lies were over. The judge sat tall. His voice was calm but strong. "This court has heard the truth," the judge said. "This case has shown how dangerous lies can be." The jury looked serious. They did not need long to decide. The evidence was clear. The confessions were real. The truth was no longer hidden. The judge looked at the father. "Sir," he said, "please stand." The father stood slowly. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from emotion. He looked at his daughter. She gave him a small, strong smile. The judge took a breath. "On all charges," the judge said, "this court finds you not guilty." For 1 second, the room was silent. Then everything broke open. People gasped. People cried. Some clapped before stopping themselves. The girl covered her mouth. Tears rushed down her face. She ran to her father. This time, no one stopped her. He dropped to his knees. He held her tight. They cried together. Not loud, not for show, but real. Years of fear, weeks of pain, all released in one moment. The judge watched quietly. Even he felt it. The prosecutor stood. He looked ashamed. "This court apologizes," the judge said, looking at the father. "You should never have been here." The father tried to speak. His voice broke. "I just wanted to go home," he said. The girl held his hand. "You're going home, Dad," she said. "I told you." The courtroom felt warmer. Human. The judge turned to Trevor and Marcus. "You will be held for trial," the judge said. You will answer for what you did. Trevor looked down. Marcus said nothing. They were taken away. No shouting. No fight. Only defeat. The witness, Daniel Brooks, was also taken for further charges. The lies had cost too much. The judge looked at the girl. Young lady, he said gently, you showed great courage today. She wiped her tears. I just told the truth, she said. The judge nodded. Sometimes, he said, that is the bravest thing of all. The jury watched her with respect. Not as a child, but as a voice that changed a man's life. Reporters rushed outside. Cameras waited. But inside the courtroom, something more important happened. The father took off his cuffs. A guard unlocked them. The sound of metal opening was soft, but powerful. Freedom. He rubbed his wrists. He looked at his daughter. We made it, he said. She hugged him again. I never stopped believing, she said. They walked slowly toward the exit. People moved aside for them. Strangers nodded. Some smiled. Some whispered prayers. Outside, the sun was bright. It hurt their eyes. They had been in darkness too long. The girl stepped out first. She breathed in deep. Free air. Fresh air. Her father stepped beside her. For the first time in weeks, he was not in chains. He bent down. He looked her in the eyes. You saved me, he said. She shook her head. No, she said. The truth saved you. He smiled through tears. Still, he said, you were my voice. They held hands. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Reporters shouted questions. But they did not stop. They walked past the noise, past the cameras, past the lies, toward their life, toward healing. The girl looked back once, at the big building, at the place that almost broke them. She whispered to herself, never again. Her father heard. He squeezed her hand. We will be okay, he said. And for the first time, she believed it. One brave girl stood up. One innocent man walked free. And one lie-filled system was forced to face the truth.